Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So guys, in this video we are going to learn with the PHP PDO using bindParam function guys. Okay, so we'll be creating a CRUD application. So guys, we have already seen about that PHP PDO CRUD, but in this series we are going to learn about PHP PDO using bindParam function CRUD application. Okay, so guys, basically we are going to insert the data, edit, update and delete the data using the bindParam function in this PHP PDO CRUD. So guys, now let's get started with it. So as we have already created with the database and its table named as students over here, and it has few fields like full name, email, phone and course, and with the ID primary key and one integer with the auto increment value. So guys, now let's create the student form as per this database requirement. So guys, now let's get started. So let's move to our editor, and here guys I'm using a Bootstrap 5 CDN link to design this user interface, and just get started with a simple create button. Okay, column MD12 card header h4 tag PHP PDO using bind param function. Okay, CRUD, and let's give a tag where add student class button primary. Let's create the file name as same student add.php, and let's make this to float end. So yep guys, now let's give this card body over here. All done. Let's see the output for this. Refresh. Cool. So nice design guys, and now let's click on this add student. Here you move to student add.php file. Let's create a file and create the form student add.php. So basically we require all the design. Let's control A and copy all the code and paste here. So we don't require few things. Just remove that. Margin top 4. Here we tell add data. Let me create this as a back button. So let's keep this as index.php page. And here guys, let's begin with the form design. Let's type form. Method is equal to post simple margin bottom, a label not required for. Let's give full name, and the input field form hyphen control, and this input field name as full name. So yep guys, let's copy this. Let's make this as email ID, email, copy and paste email. So now phone number, let's make this text, and this will be the phone column. Now final is the course. Okay, all set. Now guys, you need to create one button. Let's create the button as simple save student. Let me zoom it and minimize this. So yep, let's design this button primary, and this button type is equal to submit, and the button name will be save student. Save it guys, and now let's check the output. Perfect. So now guys, let's begin with inserting the data. So when you click on submit button, it goes to action. Let's go to code.php file, with the method post and take all the input fields. So let's create the file name code.php. All set. Open PHP, close PHP. So guys, first you need to include your database connection, include where dbcon.php file, create the database. Okay, so let me just copy the database connection code, where here is the code. Let's copy this and paste here. Done. So if you want this link guys, we have, you just go to Funda by T and just move to PDO tutorials. So you'll find your latest PDO tutorials updates over here. Okay, so let's get back. So now guys, here you set up your database name. My username is root, password is null, and database name is PHP tutorials. Okay, so let me just copy this and paste here. All set guys. So now guys, let's get back to the code.php and begin with the if condition by checking, by using isSet function, where you're going to check $_post method of what when you click the submit button, save student. So let's copy this and go to code.php, save here. And now guys, let's call the variables. So as you can see that full name, using post method, you're going to get your input field data as given here, input field name attribute as full name. So same concept goes with the second email, then phone, and final his course. All done. So now guys, let's execute with the try catch, where you can give the PDO exception $E, and just echo this, echo your my error type, add, and just echo this $E get message function. So now you can write the query over here. So first step, let's write the query. So $query is equal to insert into the table name. So my table name is students. Let me just browse this. Here we get the table name as students, where the input field, I mean database column field, here you need to copy this. ID, I'm not copying it. All done. And now you can just go on with values, question mark space, question mark comma space, question mark comma space, question mark comma space. So guys, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4 values. Okay, so now let's prepare this statement. $statement is equal to your database connection with prepare function your above query. All set. So now guys, you need to bind all your variables and then execute it. So let's bind that. Let's copy this and bind using param function, bindParam function. So first it goes to this group. Let's add that 1 comma and then your variable at this first variable, what you want to store, the full name. So let's copy this full name and paste here. So same concept with the 4 fields. It goes to second, third, and fourth. So second one field is email. So let's take the variable email and paste here. The third is phone, and the fourth is course, guys. All done. After this, you need to execute your statement, exe execute function. That's it. So this is how we use our bindParam function in PHP PDO So now guys, let's create the variable as query execution or execute is equal to done. I mean the spelling misspelled. Query execute and check in a if condition. Okay, let's set the message $_session where we will give a message variable, and you can mention added successfully. After this, let's give the header location where location colon index.php. Let's use the index function, I mean exit function. And now you can give a else condition where you have to say that not added, okay, or something went wrong as per your requirement. So yep guys, and now if you're using a session, you need to start the session at your top of your page. Session start function. So you're going to index.php with the session. You need to start the session in your index.php page also. Let's paste that. All done. And let's echo the message. So now let's move below, and here we will use a if condition, open and close PHP, if open and close curly brace. So here we are going to check with the isSet function $_session of message. So if this message is set, you are going to echo in a h4 tag like. Let's concatenate and paste here, and let's add a class alert success. All done. After showing the message, let's unset it. What? You have set the session as a message, right? So let's unset this. Done. So now guys, this is a simple method to show the message, and yep, let's get back. So guys, now let's insert the data and let's check it's saving or not. So first with Prakash Ved at gmail.com, some random phone number, BCA, let's add student. Here we see added successfully, and let's refresh, the message has gone. Now let's check in our database, browse. Cool, so you can see that guys, our data is stored. So let's add once again. Here we go with Mohan Kumar, Mohan at gmail.com, some phone number, BCS save student. Here we added successfully. Let's browse. Perfect. So guys, in this we have successfully completed with the how to insert the data using PDO with the bindParam function. Okay, so yep guys. Okay, so now guys, we have seen that how to insert the data, and now let's fetch the data which we have stored in our database. So now guys, let's begin and finish this soon. So we have already designed the user interface, and yep guys, let's continue with creating the table. Let's give a table. Let me just zoom it. Yep, and let's design this table using bootstrap class. Table hyphen bordered. All done. Let's create the table head, that is table row, and one table heading, which means ID. Next will be full name, then email, phone, and password. All done. So now guys, let's continue with table body, tbody, then table row, and then table data. So here we will be fetching all the record. So guys, now let's begin. Open PHP and close PHP. Let's write the query. query is equal to select star from the table name. So table name is students. Let's copy this, paste here. Let's execute that statement. Execute this statement. Dollar database connection of prepare function. Then your query inside that. So this database connection over here, let's include that in our index page. So you just need to include function where dbcon.php file. So our database is included. Now you can execute this $con. So now guys, let's execute this prepared statement. Execute execute function. Now let's create the result is equal to dollar statement, your executed statement. From that statement, you are going to use fetch function to retrieve the data. So by default, you will get the fetching format in PDO called fetch or associated data. Let me just give that over here, fetch associated data. And now guys, let's check with the if condition, dollar result. If a record is there, you're going to show, else you will tell no record found. Something like, let's open and divide the PHP and create the table row, table data, where you can find this 5 table headings. Let's add the call span is equal to 5 and let's tell no record found. Perfect. So now guys, you can, if result is found, just loop that. So let's loop using for each loop, open and close, where dollar result as dollar row. So here let's close PHP, open PHP, and yep guys, let's begin with table row, table data, where we will tell PHP open is equal to and close dollar row of your ID. Same concept, full name, email, phone, and course. So yep, let me remove this extra thing. And now guys, let's check the output. Okay, so it's telling it's not the correct method. Warning, it's a warning guys, over here illegal string offset. Oops, I think we have should give over here all. Okay, it's just returning one data. Now let's refresh. Perfect. So it was just searching for the ID. Okay, so now guys, we have successfully fetched the data. And yep guys, so now guys, we are going to start with how to edit the data with the bindParam function and update those data using bindParam function. So guys, now let's get started. So let's move to this table design and just add one edit button so we can edit the data using the parameter called ID. Okay, so yep guys, let's get started. So here is our fetched table row data and here is the table heading. So first, oops, it's not a password, it's a course, as we have pasted in previous video wrongly. Okay, so let's create one edit and the table data with the a tag, that will be button called as edit, and give a class with button info. And now guys, over here let's create the student hyphen edit.php file, question mark id is equal to your fetched row data id. Okay, is equal to, as you have echoed over here, dollar row of id, you just need to echo this also. As simple guys. And now you can refresh here. Let's click here, we get the output. This is our file name and the parameter id with the value 1. So let's get back and create the file name studentedit.php. Copy and create, guys. Done. So now guys, for to design the form, we are going to use the same form which we have used in add student. Okay, so let's copy that add student form. So let's get back, Control C. Let me just minimize it a little. Here we paste. So yep, as simple. Let's edit and update data using PDO with bindParam function in PHP. So this is the form. Now let's change the button name first, update student, and the name attribute data as update student. Okay, so let's save and let's see the output. Edit here, perfect. So we are on the edit form, guys. So now let's fetch the data using this parameter ID. First step, let's go above the form and write the PHP code. Let's begin with the if condition, where we will check using a set function $_get method, where if any ID is present or not first in the form. If ID is present, you are going to tell yes, then come inside, else you have to show echo in a h5 tag that no such note ID found. As per your message area, you can just display that. So if the ID is found, let's store that in a variable called student ID. So which comes under using get method where ID. So guys, some guys have asked that do we need to use MySQL real escape string for protection of SQL injection? So it's not required, guys, over here using when you're using the PDO thing. Okay, so because we are going to that bind it, so it's not mandatory. Yep, guys, and let's type the query. So basically we are fetching the record, select all the fields, that means start from the table name. So my table name is student, I mean students, where the ID column field ID, and then you're going to give question mark over here. Okay, and we just want to fetch only one ID, so you can just add a limit also which gives to 1. So now guys, let's execute the above statement. So dollar statement is equal to dollar connection of your prepare function with the dollar query. So after preparing this query, guys, now we have to bind the ID. Okay, let's use the dollar statement. Here we use bindParam function, where you are going to pass at first, which just you have to analyze that it's a first record, and then pass the data in it. So that is student ID. The student ID you have to pass it. Where, and one more thing, guys, in this you can just initialize that it's a ID or what thing data it is. So if you require, you can give, or else you can, it's not mandatory to also. Okay, so let me add it PDO : where parameter will be integer param underscore int. Here it is. So this is also one type of validating that ID strongly, and now you can execute this statement. Statement execute. Done. And now guys, you need to fetch the data. So let's tell your data is equal to dollar statement of fetch. So here we are not going to use fetch all as we have seen in previously. We are not using fetch all. We have to just use fetch because we are going to get single data. And that data, let's get in a format of associated array. Fetch associate. If you require, you can get in object also. So which we have learned in previous series, that is PHP PDO CRUD. Link in the description, guys. So now finally let's check out with this dollar data, where you will be sending this value inside your variable. Okay, I mean input fields. So let's type the value, open it's PHP and close dollar data of what, the column field, database column field name, full name. Okay, so now guys, let's check the output. Here we refresh. Okay, undefined variable con, that means connection. This connection guys, it's searching for this connection. Why? Because we have not included that. So let's include the database connection first. We missed out connection dbcon.php file. All set. So yep, now let's get back, refresh. Here we go. So we have got the data. So now guys, let me just try to remove this id and just give a student edit. Here you get undefined variable data. Okay, so what for this, you just need to add that in a if else condition, I mean this form. So let's divide this. Just need to close PHP, open PHP, and inside this your form will be. So let me just control X, fold this form and paste that code below. All set guys. So now you not need to worry. And now if you try to remove it and just give student, you can see that no ID found. Okay, so as per your request, you can just set this. Yep. Now let's add the remaining values in its input field. PDO and course. So let's paste that, phone, email. All done. Cool guys. So our data has come. Let me just check out with the second. Perfect. So there is no issue. Now guys, let's begin with updating this code. Yep. So when you click on update student, it goes to code.php with the method post as default by taking its input field values. So guys, now let's move with the code.php and create a update student code. So let's move to code.php here, and yep, let's use a if condition to check if the button is clicked or not. So the button is clicked using post method. And now guys, when you update the data, you have to get all the input field names. So let's copy from below itself, which we have seen in inserting time. Done. So now let's use the try catch statement. Try. Here you need to pass the PDO exception. So PDO exception $e, and you can just echo that $e of get message. If you get any kind of error, you will be moved over here. So now guys, as simple, let's begin with the query is equal to update the table name. So my table name students, set the column fields. So column field is full name is equal to colon your full name, comma, then email is equal to colon your email ID, then your phone is equal to colon your phone number, and course is equal to your course. Okay, so these first values are nothing but your database column field names. Okay, so your table column field name, and the remaining are you are going to bind them. So guys, previously we have seen that we have just used the question mark. So here we are, while updating, it's this method. Okay, so course where id is equal to, on what id you want to update this statement. So you can just add the student id. So let's keep in small, where limit, let's keep it 1. So update one record at 1, limit 1. Okay, so now guys, yes, let's prepare this statement. So dollar statement is equal to dollar connection prepare, where dollar query, and here your database connection, make sure database included. Done. So once prepared guys, now let's bind all the data into this SQL query. So dollar statement, your prepared statement, with that you're going to bind param. So first, and your value colon the full name. Okay, so here you are taking this data and pasting here, and inside this you are going to get your variable full name. That's it, all set. So same condition moves with the email ID and the email from the input field, the phone number and the input field value, a course, and your variable called course. So here, and now guys, one more thing we require, that is the ID. So this ID, let's paste here ID and student ID. Let's take this variable and create at the top and get from the input method student ID. Okay, so let's check out in our student edit form, and here we have no such input called student ID. Let's create that. Just add a value is equal to and tell dollar data of student underscore ID. Now let's see guys, first the ID is visible or not inside this input field. Let's refresh. Okay, so it has not come. Let's make it ID. It's not actually that student ID. Okay, because that field is not found, so it gave an error. And let's create a name with the student ID. So let's copy this input field name and let me make it hidden. So yes guys, let's copy this and go to your code.php at update student, and here you have to paste that. So now you will get your student ID and that bind that function, I mean bind the params. So now guys, after this, let's execute the query. Query execute is equal to your dollar statement, where you will tell execute function. That's it. So once executed, you are going to show in a if else condition that updated or not updated. Let me just copy the code from below to show the success message. So yep, paste here. All set guys. Updated successfully and not updated. All done. You are using session. Make sure session start and going back to index.php file. So now guys, let's test it. Okay, refresh. So instead of Mohan Kumar, let's add just Mohan and update the phone number also. Let's click on update student. Updated successfully, and you can see that from Mohan Kumar to Mohan it has added. So let me just change this first record data. So from Ved to Om, and from Ved at gmail.com to Om at gmail.com. Update student. Here we go. So all the data is changed guys. So guys, we have successfully completed with how to update the data using bindParam function in PHP PDO. So guys, now we are going to learn about how to delete the data using the bindParam function in PHP PDO. Okay, so guys, now let's move to this table design and just add one delete button over here and delete its record. Okay, so yep guys, let's get started. So first let's move to our table design and add a delete option. So let me copy and paste, and here you are going to tell delete and create a table data with the form. So we are going to use a form to delete the record. Use a button, delete, and let's assign the class. Let's copy this and paste here and name it as danger, and the button type will be keeping as submit. And let's give this button name as delete student, and its value, this button value, we are going to fetch the table row of ID. Okay, and we are going to code.php with the method is equal to post. All done. So once you delete student, code.php method post value of row of ID. So yes, here we move is set function dollar underscore post method of student delete, and then let's get the ID, so which we have already passed that ID in a button itself, that is delete student button. As simple, so you can just check out over here. So inside this button only we have sent the value, so let's get that. All done. Let's give the try catch function the PDO exception $e of get method, message. Let's echo this. So yep, dollar query is equal to delete from the table name students, where ID is equal to question mark, and let's give a limit 1. Okay, so you have to delete one at a time, one row. So now guys, let's prepare this query. As statement is equal to your database connection with the prepare function $query. Once executed, let's bind the variables $statement of bindParam function, where first value comma $student ID, and inside this let's specify that it's an integer itself. So PDO : your param is integer value. All done. Let's execute this. Query execute is equal to $statement of execute function, and now you can check with the if else condition to it's deleted or not. Paste here. Let's tell deleted successfully, not deleted. Okay, done. And now guys, let's check the output. Here we refresh, and yep guys, let me just add one dummy data. So dummy, and yes, save student, added successfully. And now guys, let me just delete. Perfect, deleted successfully. Let me just delete the second record, so you can find deleted successfully. Okay, here we refresh and you will see that it's deleted. So guys, we have successfully completed about the PHP PDO using bindParam function CRUD application. So guys, in this video that's it. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, like and share.